Hey there, it's Sam. Um, this is a postscript to the video on our big move. I realized afterwards that it's probably better if I broke it into a part A and a part B. Actually, it was Joe's idea to do that. And so part A is all kind of the leading up to the 6 trucks and trailers and various things. And part B is that whole process of moving and clearing the land. They do go together. I recorded them at the same time, and you'll see where we split into A and B. So, welcome to the wooden ladder and living on a, I don't know, what do you call this? A wing and a prayer. Hey there. Hi, it's Sam. Welcome back to Wooden Ladder and this grand adventure of ours, moving from our 5,000 square foot church house, several outbuildings into 5 hours away, be closer to our family on now a few acres, but nowhere to live. Um, I mean, technically there is a home that is rented and there is a shop here, but we've moved into a 32-foot trailer with a couple of 40-foot sea cans and some portable shelters. And this is where we are going to camp out until such time as we can design and build our home. So just looking at an eagle. So this we started this channel because we realized in the middle of it that this was actually really epic, that we wanted to document the process and we wanted to inspire other people and maybe even inspire ourselves a bit, because looking at how this is all going to unfold is sometimes a bit daunting. So make sure that you like, share, and subscribe for updates. This video, I'm going to take you through the epic process of 7, kind of 8 trips, 6 trailers, or 6 trucks and trailers, and how we've cleared the land and set up the shelters. Because where we are right now was just an unkept field with 4 foot tall stuff growing on it. And so that journey has taken a couple of months. And here we are. So going forward, you'll probably see us pulling our hair out as we're trying to figure out where everything goes and the logistics of that. But where do you even start building a house and even just building your whole new life? So I'm going to share my screen and take you through this process. And yeah, make sure you subscribe, because this is going to kind of catch you up to where we are. And then going forward, who knows? This goes back a few months. We had made the decision to move a year ago, July, and our daughter and son-in-law called us, and they were talking about they were going to be moving from being 2 hours away to being now 5 hours away on the other side of the mountains, and would we consider moving? And we both said yes, hung up the phone and went, oh my goodness, what have we done? It took us a month to kind of settle into that, and then we thought, okay, well, we better start selling some stuff. And so we did put stuff online, and we had this classroom portable that had just been used for storage. And so we set up shelves and we had all of these hutches. And so we ended up having kind of our own little store. The property was, both properties, this one and the old one, were both technically sold, but subject to financing. And subject to financing on the new one meant subject to sale on the other one. So they were too intertwined, and it all was hinging on financing. And I had such a strong sense that this is where we were supposed to be. But in the end, we ended up selling way lower than what we had anticipated. But because I've got my background in finance, I didn't want our whole life to be dependent on the money thing, and that we had manifested the property and everything had to be in the flow. And so I held on to that. But there was moments where it was like, oh, what if it doesn't work? We'd have to be there for another winter. We'd missed the birth of our grandson. And just, there was moments where you could catch yourself in huge doubt or panic, and I would just like, no, and I just refused to go there. But at the same time, we were still holding on to sort of that what if by, yes, selling stuff that became comfortable because we'd been doing that for a year, but hadn't really started to pack and disturb the comfort of our home. And we were visited by my dad and stepmom. And before they left, my stepmom, she just looked at me and she said, "You've got a lot of stuff. Just get packing. Just get packing." And that rocked me because I knew that she was right, that we had to move in the energy that we were already going there and that there was no holding back. We had to get into motion. So we did. And every little thing had to be gone through. If you move, every little paper clip gets touched. I put this picture in because there's so many decisions. These mushroom soup mugs were left in the church when we moved in, along with a lot of other stuff. But we had come up there and we had forgotten dishes. So they kind of held a special memory for us. We ate, drank, and used them for about 2 weeks. But they went. They went. So did some of our treasures. This was a hutch that was left there. It was a beautiful Canadian Vilas maple that I refinished with Annie Sloan chalk paints, which is a passion of mine, and something to stay tuned for because I will walk through somewhere, somehow, when we get a bit more settled, be doing a lot more of that. Anyways, it had to all get dismantled, right? You have to get out of your comfort zone if you're going to move, which means you have to start putting away some of your treasures. This one was one of my favorite pieces. It went to a friend, and it looks absolutely spectacular in their home, which is done up in kind of an Italian style. Absolutely beautiful. It wasn't going to go in our new place. Uh, this is another hutch that was left in the church when we moved in, and another one that I redid. It also went to a friend, and this one got sold. This was in our bathroom, and we just used shelves for a while. We had, at one point, 10 hutches because in a church, there aren't really any closets, not that kind of closet. There's not really, there are no closets in a church. So we got really creative with storage. And again, now that we are in the trailer and sea cans, we're going to get really creative with storage again. Don't really know how that's going to work. So stay tuned for that. So we just kept selling and selling and selling. And eventually, our little store also had to be cleaned out. And so we did this right up until about the end of June. And then at that point, our neighbors were also moving. And we were going to be living in the trailer, which you see there. And so it got moved from their property over to our property. And at that point, at that point, it just, every one of these steps, it just makes it more and more real. I use this picture in here because this is our family room. And we just had to be constantly reminded that this had been our family home and that we were moving to be closer to our family. And it even makes me emotional, even just thinking about it. But we had to stay focused on the goal and the why. And at this point now, Joe started to, um, I guess that the property must have sold at this point, but no, it hadn't. We had taken the light fixtures out of the agreement because I wanted to have at least one for our new home whenever we build it. And so he replaced the light fixtures and our fans. We had three of them, but only two actually went up. So what we did was we put the original fans that were there when we moved in, spray painted them black, put them back up, and changed out the light fixtures, and have now sold a few and kept one for ourselves for wherever we go next. And so all that stuff had to be done. And then there was little reminders, like the deer that lived up in behind the church. They had their babies up there, and they would sleep up there. And so, there's Mama Bear. But in the meantime, we got boxes, and we got a lot of boxes. And they piled up downstairs so that we could just start doing it, because all of our creature comforts had to be gone through. So we sold all of our couches and coffee table. Just, you just move it around, right? There was the inside stuff and the outside stuff that all had to be dismantled. This was the sea can. This became a really big piece. We bought this when we moved there to facilitate the renovations, and so that we had storage when we were renovating, which was really clean, ended up really being cleaning up of the church. And so this had to be emptied before we could repack it with our long-term storage. And there was a lot of treasures in there because I made it my mission to not have any boxes packed at the time. I wanted everything out. If we had stuff, we needed to use it, or it was specifically kept for a specific, like in a box intentionally, but I didn't want anything in boxes. So all that stuff had to get reboxed up. And we kept ourselves kind of sane with our walks, and just not, I'd go down to the beach. We call this the beach on the salmon trail. I'd go there and I would just know, stay in the flow, stay in the flow, stay in the flow. This is, we are moving in the direction of family and it's all going to come together. And it did come together. It really is quite miraculous. I have many people to thank for that, because in the natural, it's, the best way to describe it is it's impossible, but it did. And here we are. And that's another whole story. Maybe some point I'll talk about that, how that happened. Um, Here we are. It's sold. So now there's the new place. And this is a lifetime project. This is it. Okay. Here we are. And because of the way everything was kind of coming together, I put this picture in because it it's kind of we're doing it all on a non-budget. And so Joe made a dolly. He was going to do a lot of the work himself, and he had, obviously, he's kind of the one-man show. As I said, he's the star of everything. He made a dolly, used a handle from a, yeah, I just sit there and he carries me around. Um, but we needed to have fun while we were doing it, because otherwise it was going to be too stressful. So he used the handle off of an old lawnmower, so that and it really, really sturdy wood he got from the dump, so that he could load up his boxes. And so Joe did the loading and the planning. I had to do the packing inside. I used this picture because this was one of my favorite walls, I guess, because we only had the four walls. This was where we sat. This was our living room, and it all had to come down. And we have big, heavy stuff, and it was somehow going to go into this little 32-foot trailer. When we said goodbye to our neighbors, they left a month or so before we did. That's another step in letting go of the family home and the journey that we were walking away from the familiar and the comfortable towards the family, because there was a baby coming. Our baby was having a baby. Joe even found a stroller, which was kind of stayed there again as another reminder of our vision of where we were going, because we just kept making boxes and packing boxes and selling stuff. Eventually, the sea can, the bin we call it, was unloaded, and Joe asked our friend Pete, who is a dairy farmer, and Pete Hansen at HP Cattle, I think is his handle on YouTube. He does some great videos. He came down with his tractor to pull the sea can, and the two of them hooked it all up, and somehow, some way, and there you go, big tractor, big sea container, just pulled it down. It had to be in position so that A, it was closer to where we were loading it, and B, so that when the truck came to pick it up, he could just back right in. And there was so many logistics, because the sea can itself weighs 9,500 pounds, and the maximum that the winch on the truck could do is 45,000 pounds. And so Joe was weighing everything that went in there, because we couldn't go over 45,000 pounds. And I think in the end, the guy said it ended up being about 30,000 pounds. So that's good. But if you think, when you start thinking about it, we have heavy stuff. So Joe didn't want any cast iron in there, but we had the butcher block, we had the piano, we had books, we had all those kind of heavy things. still had to go in there. So he had to manage all of that in addition to managing the the weight so that it was evenly distributed, packed so that it would stack nicely and not move around. Um, and Hi, Pete. Thank you so much. We're super grateful for that. We had so many friends. Yes, the lawn got torn up a little bit, but Joe has since packed it all down again. And there you go. There's where we started to load it. I then went to work on trying to set up, putting some furniture, figuring out what furniture we would have in the trailer. We decided to stick with the couch that our neighbors had because it folded down and it had space underneath so that we could put um, baskets, as I'm figuring we're going to maximize our space. It's this space here is smaller than our foyer, smaller than our bedroom, and this is our primary living area now. But my neighbor assured me that she and her family, with two young children, lived here for 2.5 years, and so they could do it. We could do it. And here we are. I don't know how long it'll be, but the rainbows that we get over our place there um, kept appearing whenever there was any kind of doubt. It's amazing the double rainbow. How many we've had? Probably twice a year, maybe. But we held on to those signs just like we held on to the little pieces that kept pulling us towards where we were going. And incredible friend, also very strong, came and helped Joe with the heavy stuff. And they made ramps and used all this because the sea can needed to be loaded. And we were going to have the one main one that we already had, the old bin, and then we were buying a new bin. And all of this heavy stuff, that's our butcher block, weighs, I don't know, somewhere between 300 and 500 pounds. I don't care to test it out, but um, between the two of them, they did. And things started to get stacked. And you can see at the back there how it all has to fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. So this is a lot of mental work as well as physical work for Joe to figure all of that stuff out. In the same way I'm packing all the boxes, he's trying to pack all my boxes into the sea cans. This is how he did it. I'd pack a box, I'd put it out in the foyer, or if it was downstairs, I'd put it downstairs, and then he and our friend would haul it upstairs and then haul it out. It was quite the assembly line. But we had fun. We needed to have fun. It needed to be lighthearted, and it was not always lighthearted, especially at the end. I just was, Joe was tired, and it was obvious he was doing so much work. But even when he mowed the lawn, he kept the flowers so that they were nice to look at and then nice for the deer. Mama deer had her baby, and so another reminder, right? Keep walking the path, walking the path, walking the path. Just keep moving in it. Just don't stop. Just keep moving and enjoying those moments, finding those moments. The kids came up for the last visit that they would have in the church house. And she was definitely getting very pregnant, and we knew that there was a date on the calendar when baby would arrive. So we ate, and she went through stuff. She sorted through stuff because, while she never lived um, in the church house with us, it was still our family home. And so she had a lot of stuff, and she and our son in law now have purchased their own place. And so we sifted and we sorted and we packed and we ate and we just enjoyed the moment of being together in the home. And when they left, that was it. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you that I didn't sob like a baby because my baby was about to have a baby. And the room that we had set up downstairs as the kids' room had to be dismantled. And we will have a kids' room when we build our new house. But in the meantime, I had to sort it out into one little box of what we might have for available for our grandson. So all my craft stuff, all my sewing stuff, everything that was comfortable. A lot of stuff went in the garbage, and I stuck these two pictures in because when you have space, you tend to hold on to things. Oh, these were my gardening slippers, and those were Joe's like old shoes. I was like, what are we going to do with these? We're not going to have the space. So they had to go in the garbage, right? You sort through literally everything. I have a paperclip story. When I was doing my office, I opened the drawer, and everything was all nicely compartmentalized. I had two little containers, one small paper clips, one big paper clips. Do I need all those paper clips? No. But you know, when you're comfortable and familiar in your home, you know where everything is. And I didn't know what to do with them, so I just took a Ziploc bag and dumped them into a Ziploc bag. But it was those kind of decisions. They're exhausting. And those are the little decisions, and there's all the big decisions. And it just keeps coming and coming. I'm going to end part A here, and make sure that you like, share, and subscribe, and watch part B, because part B is the trucks and the trailers and the clearing of the land and the what are we going to do with everything, making space for all the stuff that we're moving. We'll see you there. Thanks for watching.